that they were able to give us. But something that stuck out to me the most, I mentioned earlier, is the fact that they said they were very much prepared for something like this to happen. So their blood supplies were good at last check. Their staff was all hands on deck. They were good. And then the internal supplies as well, different things that they needed, medical supplies, they were all good and covered.
Absolutely.
But what the doctor wanted to hit home was the fact that people at home can really have an impact and help more than maybe you think you can by just being prepared with knowing CPR and knowing how to stop bleeding. Because if you think about it, all of those first responders who were dispatched, I mean, they were just getting called one after the other, all of them leaving in their fire trucks, leaving in their EMS vehicles, going to all these different places. And resources were starting to get spread to the point where dispatchers were having trouble deciphering information.
Absolutely.
You heard in those calls that we shared earlier that people were saying, we're doing our best, we're trying to help, but we're getting all these calls in.
We are.
And so being able as a civilian to help in any way that we can in educating ourselves until first responders get there, we can actually help save lives by just knowing those basic steps.
It's so important to be your own first responder, and MCH was prepared. They did go through a series of steps in their operation process, from activations phase to the second being operation 1 and 2 periods, and then finally the recovery phase. They were in lockdown till 10, I think a little past 10 as well. And so we're just continuing to try to follow the people that are still, struggling there. We have heard from some witnesses, though, and actually some who know the victims, that say that a few have been released, some are recovering. So we're just sending our well wishes there. But we do want to recap, too, what recently came out is President Donald Trump did make a tweet sharing with us. He's been keeping an eye on this whole situation. He said, "Great job by Texas law enforcement and first responders in handling the terrible shooting tragedy yesterday. Thank you also to the FBI and Governor Greg Abbott, and to all others. A very tough and sad situation," and that is exactly true. Tough and sad situation, and we also have him on camera as well.
I'd like to thank law enforcement yesterday in Texas. They've been incredible. First responders, law enforcement, the police, the FBI, Governor Abbott, incredible the job they did. It's tragic, but they did an incredible job under the circumstances. It's another very sick person, so I just want to thank everybody involved.
This is really an all-hands-on-deck situation that was yesterday and still today as well. And we're hearing more about victims and their stories as well. All we know right now is there is an ECISD student that was killed, but also what's heartbreaking right now is to hear about the 17-month-old who was shot in the face and then actually transported to the Lubbock hospital. We have some information, a reporter out there in Lubbock right now.
I'm outside of University Medical Center, where one of the patients from Midland, Odessa, transferred here is a 17-month-old baby girl. According to a post by her mother, the baby girl is in satisfactory condition, but has a hole through her bottom lip. Some of her teeth were knocked out, and she has shrapnel in her right chest, but her vitals are stable.
Called in extra trauma teams, surgeons, nurses, housekeeping staff to clean rooms. But fortunately, I think the injuries they saw down there were minor. Nothing they couldn't handle.
UMC says as of now, the baby girl was the only patient who was transported here. Reporting in Lubbock, I'm Leah Doherty.
Very sad story there, but kind of a light at the end of this tunnel. A GoFundMe was started for that 17-month-old girl. Very sad, but people from West Texas came out of the woodworks, and they had a goal of $100,000 set yesterday, mind you. That goal was surpassed yesterday.
It's
last
incredible.
night. Hours. If you think about that, hours after we heard this information, we hadn't found out quite yet that a little girl was involved. We were just learning. So it took us quite a bit of time to confirm some information. But the fact that so many people came together, more than $100,000. That's incredible.
That's incredible. And if it wasn't, and there's also several GoFundMes out there as well, but without our medical team, especially at MCH, this may have been a different situation if they weren't as prepared as they were, and they definitely were. And we're also getting some more information from the Odessa Chamber of Commerce, who has made some more information on Facebook.
It's a PayPal on their website.